from this to this. If you want to see one of the most technical scene-building workflows in Unreal Engine, this episode is for you. In this episode, we're going to create our own professional asset and optimize it, making it lighter and higher quality than the assets you saw in the previous part. We'll also cover simulation, improve materials, and decals later in the tutorial. Alright, let's go back to the asset we created in part 1. One of the main issues we had in the previous session was performance. It's true that our meshes had good variety and details, and the modeling was done carefully. But the biggest problem was the polygon count. As you can see, I've selected only a small part of the mesh, and it already has around 100,000 faces. This is not optimized for any practical use, and we should always optimize our work as much as possible. Now imagine having 1,000 of these meshes in a scene. Naturally, the scene would become very heavy. The better approach for this type of asset is to create simple planes and use proper materials to fill empty spaces. So let's start by creating the smallest pieces in Blender and ZBrush. As you can see in the references, these are fragments created by destruction. They often have strong protrusions, cracks on the surface, sometimes are fully broken, and in some cases, rebar is even exposed. Let's start building our first piece. Make sure to respect the scale so you don't run into problems later. You can create cuts on the surface using tools like box cutter, or manually select points and bevel or move them. Next, add a bevel modifier to get sharper edges. Make sure the points are clean so you don't run into issues with the bevel. The reason we use bevel is to preserve edge sharpness after subdivision. I create the next mesh as well. If manually connecting vertices is difficult, you can use triangulate to complete the mesh. For sculpting, I prefer working in ZBrush, but you can also do this directly in Blender. The first common issue is disconnected vertices, which can again be fixed using triangulation. Now, the mesh is ready, and we can use ZBrush to get a clean topology for sculpting. After that, we can subdivide the mesh to increase polygon density and get better detail. For sculpting, I use trim adaptive and dynamic brushes. Dynamic creates breaks and fractures, and trim adaptive helps shape the edges and add erosion. You can also use alpha brushes to quickly add damage to the surface. I prepared a few examples that you can use. Just select the standard brush, assign an alpha, and apply it to the surface. You can even create cracks this way. Now the sculpt is finished, and honestly, the quality looks even better than a reference. But here's the problem. This small piece now has 576,000 polygons. So what do we do next? Baking. Now we optimize the asset. We duplicate the mesh and name one low poly and the original high poly. On the low poly version, we use Decimation Master. We enable freeze borders to preserve the edges. Then click Pre-Process Current, and finally decimate current without changing the shape. As you can see, we go from 576,000 polygons down to 115. The lower the percentage, the more optimized the mesh becomes. I'm happy with around 400 polygons. If we have 20 of these meshes, that's only 8,000 polygons total. Remember, in the original asset pack, some single stones had 100,000 polygons. Even if we place 50 of our meshes, that's only about 20,000 polygons, which is much more optimized. Now we export both versions. We import them into Blender and apply Shade Smooth to the low poly mesh. The size looks slightly off, but we'll fix that later. For UV unwrapping, I use Realism UV. Try to cut the UVs in a way that seam lines are not visible. Next, we bring everything into Substance Painter, and this is where the baking magic happens. In the Bake menu, I add the high poly meshes. And make sure there are no red areas, and that the high poly fully covers the low poly. As you can see, all the details are baked perfectly onto the low poly mesh. Now you can use tools like generators and grunge maps to add even more detail. I'll show the texturing process quickly, since it's a separate topic and would make the video too long. One important tip: if you plan to reuse this material on other meshes, create a smart material so you don't run into issues later. Even more optimization. Now ask yourself, Does it make sense to have a separate texture set for every single piece? Wouldn't that make the project heavier? In my opinion, it's better to use one material for concrete, one material for rebars. Just like before, use the high poly versions for baking. With two materials assigned in Substance Painter, they will be separated automatically, and you can bake them individually. Now I've imported these meshes into Unreal Engine. Let's compare them with the previous assets. Which one do you think looks better? Please write your opinion in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. Finally, we can use these meshes as foliage, paint them into the scene, and add variation in scale and rotation to fill empty spaces with optimized high-quality depth. Another way you can use these meshes is to bring them into the scene, arrange them, and duplicate them. With all of them selected, go to the Details panel and search for Simulate. From the three-dot menu next to Play, click Simulate so the meshes fall naturally onto the ground. If you press Stop, they will return to their original positions. To fix this, after starting the simulation, press K, then press Stop. Now the simulation is successfully applied and the meshes stay in place. Alright friends, because the material we had felt a bit flat, I decided to use better materials. I used these two Quixel materials. Overall, my opinion is that materials should either be very similar with different details. For example, plain dirt and dirt with stones or cracks, so we can keep a consistent look. I add some more of the details we created using foliage. I also add this material that has vehicle tire tracks and try to blend it with our other materials. As you can see, it has good detail. Now, for the final detail of this tutorial, let's create decals. I want to make a few water decals to break up the uniformity of the scene. I downloaded several alphas and placed them next to the previous ones so you can download them as well. We create a material and add our alpha. We set the material domain to deferred decal. and the blend mode to translucent gray. We connect the alpha to opacity, and by holding the 1 key, we can add constant values to the other inputs. Next, we add a decal actor and assign our decal material to it. That's how easily you can create different decals. You can also duplicate this decal and simply change the alpha. All right, friends, by the end of part 2, we've reached a scene like this and learned several new techniques. In the next part, we'll move on to creating the destroyed buildings.